It's semifinal Monday, and Washington State and Portland are set to do battle from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, and Orleans Arena in the WCC semifinal number 2. Oregon State got the win over Gonzaga earlier today in upset fashion right at the buzzer. The Beavers are moving on to the championship game, and the winner of this one between Washington State and Portland will take on the Beavers. And hello and welcome. I'm Davis Hagen alongside Josiah Frank, and we are thrilled to have you with us once again from Las Vegas for this presentation of WCC Tournament basketball on KUGR. And Josiah, this game should be really exciting. There's been so many great tournament basketball games here in Las Vegas, and this one has all the makings to be another one.
Yeah, Davis, I cannot wait to see just another showdown of a great display of talent in the WCC. Me and Davis, we just watched an amazing game between Oregon State and Gonzaga. Gonzaga being an excellent basketball squad, but it did not matter with the likes of the Beavers beating them on nearly a buzzer beater win. And then on the flip side, there was like 0.8 seconds left, and they tried to heave it in there. It wouldn't go. And so I'm not going to be surprised if we can get another thriller like this one.
The Portland Pilots are 28-3 on the year, 17-3 in conference. Their only 3 losses this year, twice to the Zags and once to Oregon State. So the teams that are left in this tournament have had the Pilots' number, except for Washington State, who has lost twice to Portland already this year. They come into this game 20-12 overall, 14-6 in conference. It was good enough for the number 3 seed. Portland, on the other hand, got the share of the regular season title with Gonzaga because Portland lost twice to the Zags, even though they did have the better overall record. But this should be a fantastic game in the second semifinal of the women's bracket. And let's take a look at the starting lineups for first, the Washington State Cougars. And they are led by senior leader Tara Wallach. Ellie Villa, Estera Tahina, Diana Mendez, and Jenna Villa are the starters. But the star watch today, Josiah, Estera Tahina, the best player on the floor yesterday versus Pacific for the Cougars.
Yeah, Estera Tahina having a monster game, 18 points versus Pacific. And, you know, where Tara Wallach has really been the show throughout the year, the lone senior captain for the Cougs. But yesterday, not kind of putting on as much of an offensive performance as maybe we would like to see. But Estera Tahina definitely stepped up, put 18, 6 of 13 from the field, and 3 made threes from behind the arc. So we would love to see how she does, as well as Tara Wallach as well.
They're going to need a lot of input from a bunch of different players today to possibly take down the Portland Pilots, who have been one of the best teams in college basketball this season. The back-to-back WCC champions. Let's take a look at their starters for this game. And Josiah, there's so many talented players on this roster. Mikhail Meek, M. Shearer, Trista Hull, Macy Burnham, and Alexis Mark are their starters. But the star watch today is Macy Burnham, the first-team All-WCC player for the Pilots.
Yeah, Macy Burnham should be a household name. If you haven't heard her yet, you will after this game. She's averaging 17 points a game, but she's actually a native of Washington, playing for the Portland Pilots, but she's from a very small town just about 20 miles south of Spokane called Spangle, Washington. Went to Liberty High School, which is a 2B high school. That's the smallest classification in the WIA for Washington State high schools. And it really didn't matter because she is a 2B royalty of a player, winning back-to-back state championships in her junior and senior year, and then coming over to Portland and handling business. They've been to the tournament 2 times. They've won back-to-back WCC championships back in 23 and 24. And for the first time in a very long time, they're going to try to repeat that with one of their best teams that they have ever had in Portland history.
I like that you mentioned the best team they've ever, one of the best teams they've ever had. The last 2 seasons, WCC champions in the postseason. This year, finally a share of a championship in the regular season. This is their best season in the last couple of years when they've won the tournament. So this is the scariest Portland team in a while, and they're led by 3 first-team All-WCC players in Shearer, Burnham, and Mark. Take a look at the keys to the game as we're about ready to start. Josiah, the first key to the game for Washington State is bring the energy against the Pilots.
Yeah, bringing the energy is going to be huge. Right now, Portland has had a huge bye. Their first game in the WCC tournament is today. It is right now. And before then, they have taken a ton of time off. And the beauty of Washington State being that 3 seed is they did play yesterday, getting that big win over Pacific. So, you know, now their bones are fresh, the blood is moving. And for Portland, yes, they are an amazing basketball squad. And from their warm-ups, they look like they've been doing great. But, you know, we'll see how rust and rest kind of play a deal in this game.
The next key to the game is protect the paint. Portland had over 50 points in the paint in their second meeting when the Pilots beat Washington State 84-79. How does Portland attack the paint, and how does Washington State stop Portland from getting those easy buckets inside?
Yeah, I think that has to go with Alex Colville as well as Diana Mendez. You know, 2 of the biggest players on the Washington State squad. Mendez is starting. She's that true freshman, one of the best freshmen in the WCC at 6'3". And then Alex Colville, who started half the season before an injury, she's standing at 6'6", and no one on the Pilots roster is nearing that height. So they can use that post advantage and height to their advantage. It can make things really interesting.
And then the last key to the game is be confident, and that has a lot to do with Tara Wallach. And here we go. We're underway. Elivia gets the ball off the 1 tip from Washington State, and here we go. The anthracite gray for Washington State with the white trim accents. Portland in the all-whites with the purple trim. Washington State moving left to right to start this game. Tahina will drives on the left corner, backing down. Inside, gets to the right hand, backdoor pass to Wallach, and the ball was out of bounds off the baseline and a turnover for Washington State. And Josiah, with that last key to the game, be confident for Washington State against Portland. Tara Wallach didn't seem all that confident yesterday.
Yeah, being confident is going to be huge for Tara Wallach. That lone senior and captain didn't have an amazing offensive performance, but we will see if she can kind of heat it up in a great team against Portland today.
Outside to Mark, three-pointer for Portland, off the mark, and a rebound for Diana Mendez, the All-WCC freshman team player for Washington State. Had a good day yesterday against Pacific in their win. No score yet, just about a minute into the game. Wallach, free throw line for Washington State. Kick it out to Tahina, right wing three-pointer on the way. Got it! 3-0 Washington State. Good start for the Cougars. Burnham will drive in hard to the paint. Right-hand layup, off the mark, rebound, Diana Mendez again. And Burnham really likes to get to that right hand in the paint. Villa in the corner, and she stepped out of bounds. And we've seen that so many times. It seems like almost once a game in this tournament. And this is our 8th game of the tournament that we've done.
Yeah, I don't know if those corners are maybe just a couple inches shorter or something like that, but it's make a difference in literally every team that has played here in Vegas.
Portland back on offense, the 28-3 Pilots. Meek, three-pointer straight away off the rim. Good blackout from Wallach, but the ball bounces to the Pilots, and Villa comes over to snag it when the ball is on the ground. Villa driving hard down the right side. Good dump off to Wallach, inside off the glass and in for Washington State. 5-0 start for the Cougars. Outlet past the hole, swatted out of bounds by Wallach. Good job running the floor to get back in transition for Washington State, and a 5-0 start.
Yeah, Tara, not maybe being that offensive threat yesterday as maybe many have had hoped that she would be, but she definitely contributed in other areas, and that was defense is one of them.
Shearer down low to Hull, left-hand layup, short rebound up for grabs. Mark ends up with it for the Pilots, ducks inside, and she puts it up with the right hand, and it's good for the Portland Pilots, their first bucket of the game. Tahina will break the pressure easily. Good dump to Wallach down low. Left-hand layup is good, and perfect passing for the Washington State Cougars so far, other than that one turnover early.
Yeah, right now, early, Portland is 20% from the field, 1 from 5 after that made field goal from Mark.
Hull's got it at the elbow, dribble handoff. Back to Meek, guarded by Villa. Left-hand dribble drive into the corner, back out to Hull, left wing, three-pointer on the way for Portland. That's pure for the Pilots, and it's 7-5. Washington State. 7.5 minutes left in this first quarter of play of the second semifinal of the day of the women's side. Oregon State got the win earlier, so the winner of this game will take on the Beavers. It could be an all-Oregon championship if Portland gets the win, and it could be a Pac-12 WCC championship if Washington State wins. Mendez turnaround floater in the lane is an air ball, and it's out of bounds going to the Portland Pilots.
Yeah, right now, WSU, for the most part, still shooting extremely well, 100% from the field and from behind the arc. But they got to continue to do that if they want to stop a team like Portland that can shoot lights out.
7-5, Washington State in front, 7:06 to play. Top of the key, Mark, swing it. This is Shearer, and she travels with the basketball, and it's a turnover for the Pilots, and it'll go back to the Cougars.
Yeah, Emmy Shearer, 16.7 points a game. She was one with Berman as well, being one of those WCC first teamers.
Tahina will get the inbound, dribbles it over half court, fires it to Villa on the far side, guarded by Hull straight up. Good defense from the Pilots. Wallach on the far side in the wing. Bounce pass to Mendez down low, puts it over her head. Lost her dribble, but she was fouled. And that's going to go on Macy Burnham, this all-star player for the Pilots. Washington State will have an inbound from the baseline, up 7-5 with 6:44 remaining in this first quarter of play. Villa gets the inbound into the corner for Tahina, out to Wallach, top of the key. She's already got 4 points. Drives hard lane, right side, off the glass, in again for Tara Wallach. 6 points early, and she is definitely playing with much more confidence today for the Cougars. 9-5 advantage. Burnham at the left elbow, guarded by Jenna Villa. Inside, hanging in the air, missed that wide, gets her own offensive rebound. Fight for the ball, and a jump ball is called. Jenna Villa got her hands in there. Great job by Villa, but she could have had that rebound to avoid that, but a good job to make up for the lack of the rebound. Into the game, number 22, Ryan Mogul from Happy Valley, Oregon. She went to Clackamas High School, and she's playing for the hometown Pilots. Inbound to her, as Burnham will take a seat. Mogul inside, kick it out, Hull straight on, three-pointer, left rim, no good. Battle for the rebound. Portland's got another offensive board. Into the corner for Mogul, down low to Mark, poked by Mendez. One-on-one, down low, Mark to the right side. Underneath to Meek. Short corner jumper, no good. Battle for the ball again, and it's out of bounds, and a foul is going to be called on the rebound on Washington State. And that's on Jenna Villa. So Washington State unable to grab these rebounds, and it's a lot like last night with the men's team and struggling to get defensive boards.
4 offensive rebounds early for the Pilots.
Inbound to Mogul, way out near the WCC logo. Corner for Meek, the coach's daughter. Head coach Michael Meek and his daughter Mikhail Meek. Hole, top of the key, pump fake on Wallach, drives in to the right block, spinning, good pass to Shearer, and an easy put in for the Portland Pilots. Cuts a lead to 2 for Washington State, 9-7 ball game. Villa will break the man-to-man, woman-to-woman pressure from Portland. Mendez at the elbow. Jabbing, step back, gets it to Wallach, top of the key, swing it. Villa, drive in, back to Wallach. Pump fake on the 3, snakes her way to the lane. Back out to Villa, 3-pointer from the corner. Rattles out, and a rebound for the Pilots. 5 minutes, 10 seconds remaining in the first quarter of play from this semifinal game. Mark will try a 3 straight away. He left that short, and Mendez flies in for the board. Great, confident rebound from Diana Mendez. Under 5 minutes to play, first quarter. Free throw line, Wallach drives in, and a blocking foul is going to be called on Hull. And she hit the deck, but Wallach did a good job driving in hard, being confident. She's done a great job so far. She's got 6 points, hasn't missed a shot yet. And we've reached the under 5 media timeout. Josiah, quick reaction to this first couple minutes. Really good start for Washington State.
Yeah, great start right now. You know, it is a 9-7 ball game, and yes, has Portland still missed a ton of shots? They're still 3 of 11 from the field. That's 27% from field goal percentage. But, you know, WSU on the flip side has done extremely well, with maybe the exception of giving up a lot of offensive rebounds and can definitely block out better. But Mendez did it on the flip side. So it was just a bad possession in series. But, yeah, would love to see this continue with WSU. You know, some stars are going to come out and take a quick little breather. But, yeah, we would love to see this continue. 9-7 early against an excellent Portland team. I might add 28-3 overall, 17-3 in conference. I mean, this is an amazing team that is a sleeper for a lot of teams in the country.
9-7, Washington State has the lead. 4:53 to go in the first quarter. We'll take a break and be back. You're listening to KUGR, the student voice of the police. Two-point lead for Washington State with under 5 minutes to play in the first quarter. And it's been a good one so far And especially for Terrell Wallach, who's got 6 points on 3 for 3 shooting. Yesterday against Pacific, just had 8 total points for the entire game, 4 of 9 shooting. So already a much better start for Terrell Wallach, the first team all WCC player. Charlotte Abraham and Alex Colville into the game for Washington State for the first time in this semifinal against the Pilots from Portland. Villa's got the ball on the left wing with 10 seconds to shoot, drives down baseline, rounds the cup, circles back to the free throw line, bounces it off the foot of Colville into the hands of Mogul, and a foul is going to be called on Villa. And Washington State will pick up another foul, and that was a good look to Colville, but just a bad execution on the pass right at her foot.
Yeah, right at her foot indeed, and a cheap foul over by Villa. Wouldn't want to see her pick up any more of those.
Marks got it at the elbow. Entry pass inside to Shearer. Turn around. Right hook, no good. Colville tried to get the rebound, had it swatted out of her hands, and it's going back to Portland. And Alex Colville's got to be able to pull down those rebounds, standing at 6'6", definitely the tallest player on the court. Lainey Spear has checked into the game for Portland, and she's probably the tallest player on the floor for Portland. She's just 6'2". Natalie Fraley is also checked in, number 10 in white. Inbound to Fraley, which will dribble hand off to Mogul at the top of the key, the Happy Valley, Oregon native. Looking inside for Mark, guarded by Tuhina, and a foul is going to be called on Astaire Tuhina. And Washington State just seems to be losing their grip on the defensive side as this game continues.
Yeah, still with that 2-point lead, but defense is going to be huge in this game. And luckily, Portland has not made shots yet, but they will. They are an amazing shooting team.
Quick inbound to Mark on the left block, missed it, and Colville rips down the rebound. And Washington State able to hold Portland to no points on that possession. Abraham in the corner. Jumper off the rim and a rebound for Mogul. Quick look for Washington State, and they come up empty. Back the other way for Portland. In transition, Mogul at the elbow, guarded by Villa. Kick it out to Mark. Wide open, straightaway three-pointer. Left rim, no good. Abraham gets the rebound. Another one of those all-freshman team players for Washington State. Tuhina, spot up three-pointer, right wing. She's wide open. She missed that off the left side of the rim as well. And so both teams missing open looks. 9-7 Washington State. Portland is just 1 for their last 8 from the field. Into the corner with Fraley. Back out to Spear at the elbow. Guarded by Colville, a few feet off. Mogul will drive in, kick it out. Three-pointer, Spear straight away. Missed that one, and Abraham gets the rebound off the carom. And it's 9-7 Washington State still. Wallach, pump fake, gets Mogul in the air, drives in, pull-up right-hand jumper, no good. Offensive rebound, Wallach got her own miss. Kick it out to Tuhina, which will settle things down for Washington State. First miss of the day for Tara Wallach. Inside to Abraham, turnaround jumper in the key. Rattles home for Washington State. Couple bounces on the rim, and it drops.
And that breaks a 3.5-minute scoring drought. And Portland's still on a 2.5 scoring drought of their own.
Spear got Colville to bite on the three-point pump fake and drives in with the left hand and scores a floater for the Pilots. 11-9 Washington State. So both teams end their scoring droughts. Wallach lost control of the ball. Villa gets it at half court, double teamed by Portland. Hook pass over the top to Wallach. Good extra pass to Tuhina, and another pass to Colville inside on the left block, and she scores. And it's 13-9 Washington State. Great press break by the Cougars. Mogul quickly in transition, bounces into the free throw line. Colville got the block from behind, and Portland ends up with possession. Shearer down the baseline, winding towards the cup, missed the shot. Colville comes to get the rebound. Portland still really struggling from the field in this game. Shooting just 22%, 4 of 18. Inside to Abraham, left-hand jumper, no good from the southpaw, and it's 13-9 still off the miss. Shearer on the left wing, gets it out to Mogul, top of the key. She's had an open look if she wanted it. Picked up by the freshman Abraham. Kick it out to Spear, guarded by Colville. Down to Mark on the left block, guarded by Wallach, underneath the basket, gets her on her back. Blocked by Wallach inside, the ball is free, and it's into the hands of Mogul. Portland still getting the bounces, and Shearer knocks down a three off the assist from Mogul, and Washington State's got to do a better job of getting those balls when they're available.
Yeah, they're doing a great job on one hand on either blocking or poking it out, but then no one's either boxing out either on rebounds or trying to pick up those loose balls.
Inside the Wallach, extra pass to Colville on the left block, and she gets fouled on her shot attempt, and she'll go to the free throw line for 2 shots. 1 minute and 9 seconds remaining, 13-12. Washington State in front. 3 new substitutes coming in for both sides. Burnham back in, Meek back in, Hull back in for Portland. Kira Gardner, Jenna Villa back into the game for Washington State. And Ellie Villa still out there for Washington State with Abraham Colville. So Wallach goes to the bench. Mendez set to check in as well if Colville makes these 2 free throws. And she makes the first one, 14-12 Washington State. A couple of good minutes from Alex Colville. If she makes this one, she'll hit the bench with a substitute, and that one is a swish for Washington State, and it's 15-12. Mendez will check in with 1:09 to go in the first quarter. Portland just 2 of their last 10 from the field.
Yeah, still shooting 25%, which is just kind of unheard of for this 28-3 team.
Portland Pilots, one of the best teams in the country, regardless of conference. This is a kick ball on Washington State in the corner, and it'll go back to Portland with the shot clock at 20. 56.1 to play, but this Portland team has been just sensational all season long. Swept the Washington State Cougars in the regular season. Mogul at the top of the key, guarded by Kira Gardner. Bounce pass inside to Spear. Good look to Burnham, guarded by Mendez over the top, and shot goes wide, and a rebound for Abraham. Another rebound for Abraham. She's done a nice job in a couple of minutes here for Washington State. 40 seconds to play. Cougars up by 3. Villa on the outside, guarded by 2 Pilots. Abraham back to Villa, wide open, right wing, 3-pointer on the way, rattles out. Portland going the other way. Burnham's got it. The first team all WCC player, and a foul's going to be called down low on Charlotte Abraham, and Kami Etheridge is showing her that she was just trying to get in front. Kami Etheridge, one of the best coaches in the history of Washington State. She just got extended out to 2030, and she's a fiery competitor.
Oh, she is, and I think that's why people stay in Pullman, especially on our women's team. It's really because of her and her coaching staff.
Mikhail Meek will inbound for the Pilots. Back out to Mogul at the top of the key. Ball on the right hand, guarded by Abraham. 15 seconds to shoot, 2-second differential between shot and game clock. Pilots trying to hold for potentially one of the last shots of the quarter. Mogul will drive in hard against Abraham, kick it out to Burnham, drives in, 1 to shoot, fires it up, and she is fouled. Burnham with kind of a circus shot as she was just trying to heave something up at the horn with the shot clock almost expiring, and Washington State bails her out by getting a foul called, and Burnham will head to the free throw line for the Pilots.
Yeah, Burnham right now 0 of 3 from the field. These would be her first points of the game as we are nearing the end of the quarter, and Etheridge still fired up about that call.
Burnham is an 84% free throw shooter, and they are wiping a little bit of blood off the knee of Mogul, and she'll jog back into play. Burnham at the free throw line for 2 shots, the 84% free throw shooter for the Pilots. First free throw hits the back of the rim and drops in. 13-15, Washington State. Lead goes from 3 to 2, and Burnham's got a chance to cut it to just 1 point. Second free throw, nothing but net, and there's 3.1 seconds to go. Abraham gets the inbound, splits a double team at half court, heaves it up, and it is short. And that's how the first quarter ends. 15-14, great first quarter by Washington State to be in front of the Portland Pilots, one of the best teams in the WCC and the entire country. And we'll take a break and be back for the second quarter of play. 1 point advantage for the Cougars. You're listening to KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse. 1-point lead for Washington State as we head towards the second quarter of play in the second semifinal of the day. Oregon State got the win over Gonzaga earlier, so the winner will play the Beavers tomorrow at 1 p.m. for the championship. Washington State leads at 15-14, but Josiah 10 points in the paint for the Cougars to just Portland's 6.
Yeah, it's been an issue too right now. Portland shooting just 24% from the field. Unheard of.
Villa drives in on the left side, off the glass and off the rim, and no good. And a foul on the ground on the rebound, and it will stay down with Washington State on the right side of the court.
Yeah, Charlotte Abraham has had a great game yesterday as well as today, but she's had a great season overall, the true freshman from Finland.
Inbound from Mendez. Out to Villa. Guarded by Shearer. Good screen from Mendez. Lob pass inside to Abraham. Good cut to the basket, and she scores with the left hand. 17-14. Washington State back in front by 3 points. Burnham outside on the right wing for Portland. Kind of a quiet start for Burnham. Just 2 points so far. Averages 17 points on the season. Meek, the coach's daughter, outside. Out to Mark at the top of the key. Right wing Hull. Goes with the left hand to the free throw line. Pull-up jumper on the way. Rims out. And a Villa rebound for Washington State. Good rebound from Jenna Villa. Got it at the top of the key. And she gets bumped by Hull. And a foul is going to be called on the Portland Pilots.
Yeah, right now, Mark actually... Oh, excuse me. Yeah, no one actually in foul trouble. But fouls have been racking up kind of on both sides. Both teams were near or in bonus in the first quarter. And already right now, Portland with 2 more.
Hull picks up her second foul. She'll go to the bench. Villa on the left wing. Bounce pass down low to Mendez. Has the ball knocked out of her hands into the hands of Meek. And she's got a fast break 2-on-1 with Shearer. Leaves it to her on the left side. And she misses the layup. It's a block foul called, though. Jenna Villa got back, and it's going to be a blocking foul on Washington State. It'll be 2 shots for Shearer at the free throw line.
You know, Davis, I'm not one to say to foul people, but I feel like on that, I would rather take a missed layup and some free throw opportunities. But right now, they're not shooting well just in general than just an easy, 2-on-1 fast break layup transition.
Shearer knocks down the free throw, but I would agree, you don't need to just give up. You got to battle. You don't want to let him just have this easy opportunity and put your body on the line. And I think Villa did a good job. Ultimately got called for the foul, but I don't think you can be too upset about that kind of play. Shearer's second free throw is good, and it's 17-16. Washington State still up by 1. Stare Tahina into the game, as well as Tara Wallach. Abraham will hit the bench. And Jenna Villa will also go to the bench. Tahina gets the inbound, double teamed, almost lost it. 4 Pilots back in defense. So they've got a wide open player in the middle. It's Kira Gardner down low on the block, and she scores. Washington State 19, Portland 16. 8.5 minutes to go, second quarter in the second WCC semifinal on the women's side of the bracket. Meek out at the WCC logo for the Pilots. Guarded by Villa. Top of the key to Mark on the right elbow. Guarded by Wallach, a couple feet off. Out to Meek on the left elbow. Back out to Burnham, right wing. Guarded by Tahina, backing her down. Kick it out to Mark. Straight away. Burnham, three-pointer, top of the key. Rattles out for Portland and a rebound for Mendez. And Washington State can push the pace. Gardner, far side, three-pointer on the way. Rattles out again for Washington State. Multiple times these balls have just been hitting the rim, and a foul is going to be called. Or is it just out of bounds?
I think it was just out of bounds. I think Mark getting that defensive rebound when she landed, that foot was on that baseline.
So Washington State will get the ball back on the baseline. Good eyes from Josiah. 19-16. Advantage Cougars in this semifinal game. Tahina outside, guarded by Shear. To Mendez, inside, right-hand layup. Does not go. Offensive rebound, Mendez back to Gardner, and the left-hand layup is good for Washington State, 21-16. Burnham quickly to the corner for the Pilots. Lob pass down low to Mark. Attacks the rim. Kick it out. Meek, three-pointer is good for Portland.
Yeah, and that's Meek's first points of the game. Her and Burnham have been very quiet.
Wallach quickly into the key, and then she backs it out, but she's wide open. Three-pointer pinballs out for Washington State for the third time. Out to Shearer, free throw line for Portland. Bounce pass down low to Spear. Double teams from Tahina and Wallach. Bounce pass inside to Burnham, and another great look to Mark cutting in from the elbow, and she scores. Tie ball game, 21 apiece. Washington State just unlucky on the offensive side with a couple of these shots. Mendez is bringing the ball up for the Washington State Cougars. Gets it to Gardner, and a great pass to Villa inside. Floater goes on the short corner block. 23-21. Back and forth pace. And a steal for Washington State. Villa ends up with it for Washington State. Driving hard down the left side. Good look to Mendez inside. Off the glass and in. Washington State back up by 4 points. 25-21. Multiple great passes. Mendez up to 4 points and 5 rebounds for Washington State. Elbow, sheer dribble handoff to Meek. Into the corner. Back out to Spear, guarded by Mendez. Bumps into her, and a floater goes off the glass. Wow. Impressive shot for the Pilots. Gardner gets the inbound, races up the floor. Portland trying to disrupt this Cougar offense, but having no success. Tahina slices into the lane, and a floater is perfect. 4-point advantage for Washington State. Under 6 minutes to play in the second quarter of this semifinal game in the WCC Conference Tournament. Shearer, top of the key to Meek. Looking for an outlet. Dribble handoff to Burnham, Portland's best player. Backing down Gardner inside, right hand off the glass. Wow, another impressive shot from the Portland Pilots. But everything they're getting on the offensive side is really tough. Via Euro step around the world and in. 29-25 Washington State. Both teams just seem a little tired on the defensive side, but Washington State has played a far better defensive game so far. Portland finally up to over 30% shooting. Burnham lost her dribble. Gardner ends up with it. 3-on-1 for the Cougs. Leave it for Mendez, and she is fouled hard, and she'll go to the free throw line for 2 shots. What a back and forth pace. Both teams 4 out of their last 4.
Yeah, the tempo has just been like a pinball, back. It's like pickleball or something. And, you know, the Cougs right now, Portland might be making a basket on one end, but the Cougs are not going to go down, and they will not go down without a fight, and keeping that lead on the Pilots as we protrude in the midway point of the second quarter.
Washington State trying to pull off the second upset of the day in the women's bracket. Oregon State beat Gonzaga earlier to go to the championship game. The winner of this one will take on the Beavers tomorrow at 1 p.m. 25-29. Washington State has the lead. 4:43 to play. You're listening to KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse. (29-25) Washington State in front of the Portland Pilots. Davis Hagen alongside Josiah Frank, and we were just talking at the break how Washington State is shooting 12% from the three-point line, but 52% from the field. Josiah, they've had a couple threes just roll out for them.
Yeah, it's honestly it's honestly insane how unforgiving that rim is, or at least seems to be kind of on our end. It's just, yeah, in and out for a ton of threes. And yeah, that's why they're 1 from 8 from behind the arc.
Anna Mendez to the free throw line, and she is perfect on the first free throw. 30-25, Washington State in front. Anna Mendez, an all-freshman selection for Washington State this season. Sensational performance this year by the freshman Mendez, and she will knock down the second free throw and head to the bench as Alex Coville, the 6'6" redshirt freshman, will come in for Washington State.
Yeah, right now I think Colville's probably the most valuable sixth woman on this team right now. She's been putting in some good minutes in that first quarter.
Mark at the elbow to Shearer to the top of the key. Portland is 4 of their last 4 from the field. Mark inside, kick it out. Shearer step back, good defense from Kira Gardner with a good closeout. Wallach is playing off of Mark really deep, and a bounce pass inside off the foot of Tara Wallach. Shot clock will reset to 20, but they are really playing off of Mark. Not really a shooting threat for the Pilots.
No, not at all.
It'll be a baseline inbound for the Pilots, down by 6 points to Washington State. Moga will inbound, trying to get it over the 6'6" Coville, and they do way out to Burnham. And Moga will come to get the handoff way out by the WCC logo at the tip of that first W on the left side of the court. Into the corner, Fairley three-pointer on the way, off the rim. Good block out by Kira Gardner, but it's going to be a foul on Portland. That was an excellent block out. She just got discarded by Mark, and then it will go back to Washington State.
Yeah, great job of just fighting after that rebound and the basketball and just not giving up. And that's kind of been the tale for WSU right now, is just kind of go, 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 don't give up, and good things are going to happen, and they have.
31-25, Cougars in front. Wallach will bring it into the front court, breaking the Portland pressure. 3:50 to play. 31-25, Washington State in front. Tahina guarded by Mogul. Trying to shake her. Back to Wallach, top of the key. Looking down low to Colville, turn and fire, and she's fouled. And a great job by Colville to be confident and to shoot it when she got the ball, and she gets rewarded with a foul, and she'll head to the free throw line.
Yeah, every time she turns to the basket, standing at 6'6", no one can guard that. The tallest person on the Portland roster right now, it's kind of a tie for Diana and Avivi and Florence Dallow, who haven't seen any time tonight. So it's really around that 6'1", 6'2" height, kind of for the Pilots.
Colville's first free throw is good, and it's Washington State 32, Portland 25. Meek has checked back into the game for the Pilots with Burnham hitting the bench, and Burnham really a slow game so far for the Portland Pilots with just a couple of points. And a foul is going to be called on Washington State on the missed free throw from Colville. Kira Gardner will pick up the foul. Portland will walk the ball up. Burnham just up to 4 points in this game. She's on the bench. Mark at the free throw line. Gives it to Mogul, crossing over against Charlotte Abraham. Back to Mark. Give it to Mogul inside, guarded by Colville. Fairley's going to try a three. That pinball's out for Portland. These rims are just unforgiving in this game for both sides. 32-25 advantage Washington State. Inside to Wallach down low, spinning free, trying to get it inside to Abraham. She does. A floater in the lane is good for Washington State. About a 3-foot push shot. 34-25. Running the floor, Fairley, guarded by Colville. Baseline, and she's out of bounds. Great defense from Alex Colville, and a turnover on the Portland Pilots.
Yeah, what a great use of using your frame, using your body, and just being straight up, not jumping up and down, not pushing her. But because of using that 6'6" frame, she had to step out of bounds.
Full court pressure from the Portland Pilots. Kira Gardner picked up her dribble. They got 3 seconds to get it over, and they do with Elavia into Wallach. And she'll put it up with the right hand. She is fouled, and she'll go to the free throw line. Portland continuing to foul the Washington State Cougars. They're being aggressive, heading towards the basket, and they're getting rewarded with free throws.
Yeah, I just love how they are attacking the basket right now. The Cougs right now on a 7-0 run over 2 minutes right now, making 5 of their last 5. And right now the Pilots are in a 2.5-minute scoring drought.
Tara Wallach, the senior leader for Washington State from South Surrey, Canada, knocks down the free throw, and it's a 10-point lead for Washington State with 2 minutes and 43 seconds. What an impressive first half by the Cougars. Second free throw for Wallach does not fall. Hits the left side of the rim and bounces out. 35-25. 2:40 to go. Burnham back into the game for Portland. At the elbow, guarded by the 6'6" Colville. Has to do something with it. She is getting hounded by Colville. Finally gets it into the corner with Shearer. Cross-court pass to Spear. Good poke away from Tuhina, who's playing off the ball defense. Burnham blocked by Colville. No doubt about that one. You can't go over the top of Colville. Mogul's got 5 seconds to shoot. Inside, scoop shot, doesn't fall. Colville's fighting for the rebound. Gardner ends up with it. Washington State, great defense on that possession.
Phenomenal defensive stop, especially from Colville.
8-0 run for the Cougars. Inside to Colville. Left-hand layup is good. How about Alex Colville in the last couple of minutes for Washington State on a 10-0 sprint against the Pilots, and it's 37-25 Washington State.
That is a 10-0 run over the last 3 minutes, 12-2 during the duration of the game. And that scoring drought for the Pilots has continued. 3 minutes and 15 seconds of a drought for the Pilots. And right now, Portland scrambling, taking that timeout, and they have got to readjust. There's 2 minutes before halftime. If you go in halftime with that on your head and kind of hanging your head a little bit, gosh, it could get dark. It could get dark fast. 12 points is a good little push of a lead. And right now, it doesn't look like anybody's going to stop Washington State.
Portland is on a 3 minute and 14 second scoring drought. The Pilots swept the regular season series against Washington State. But today, it's been all Cougars so far in this first half. Portland just not really having any success on the offensive side, shooting at 9 of 31. From the field. And back underway, under 2 minutes to play in this semifinal. Winner of the championship to take on Oregon State. Shearer in the lane, spinning free, short, got the offensive rebound, hook shot no good, another offensive rebound for Shearer, third chance for Portland, and it gets to Burnham, and she is fouled. And Portland will go to the free throw line with Macy Burnham after multiple offensive rebounds on that possession. With Colville still in the game, those are one of the possessions that you will look back on and say that could have been a huge momentum boost even after this huge run. 0 for the last 6 for Portland, but they're going to have a chance to end this scoreless drought of 3.5 minutes at the free throw line. Burnham, first free throw, bounces off the front of the rim and is no good, and it's just been that kind of afternoon for the Portland Pilots. Nothing going down. That was her first miss as a team from the free throw line.
She is 1 from 6 from the field, and she finally adds another point with that second made free throw. But yeah, 5 points for her in the first half. She averages 17. She's a first-team All-WCC player.
37-26, Washington State in the lead. Dangerous pass from Villa, and it's intercepted. Here comes Portland, mogul back the other way for the Pilots. Washington State's got to stop a little momentum burst from the Pilots trying to get back into this game. 37-26, Washington State in front. Minute 19 to play. Burnham on the right wing, guarded by Wallach. Dribble handoff outside on the perimeter to Shearer. Back to Burnham. Dribble drive with the left hand inside, and a foul is going to be called on Wallach as she swiped down against Burnham. And Macy Burnham will go back to the free throw line for Portland.
Honestly, I honestly like these defensive sets where it ends up going to the line, goes to free throws, and they're not these kind of tough buckets that get made. I mean, yes, you don't want to get free throws, and they are 83% from the free throw line right now in this game. But I'd much rather give a shot to have 1 point go in than 2.
Free throw from Burnham is good, and they've made a couple of tough shots in this half, and that can really advance a team. It's kind of like in lacrosse when you score a juice goal, which gets the team going. You score a tough bucket, and then you get momentum going the other way. Burnham's second free throw off the rim. Colville gets the rebound, and Washington State able to push. Kira Gardner with a minute left finds Wallach at the top of the key, and Tahina ends up with the ball, and there's 20 seconds on the shot clock. They're going to try to get a possible 2-for-1 opportunity. Tahina outside has Colville down low if she wants it. Instead, she's going to take it to the top of the key. 8 seconds to shoot. Looking for a pass. Wallach comes to get it. Drive hard down the baseline. Hook shot is no good, but a foul is called on Portland, and Tara Wallach is going to go back to the free throw line where Washington State has kind of made a home for themselves. This is going to be their 9th and 10th free throw shots of the first half.
Yeah, Hull and Burnham both with 2 personal fouls for themselves. And, definitely not maybe in foul trouble, but, 2 can turn into 3 and 3 can turn into 4. And, after that, it can really go downhill.
Wallach's free throw is good, 38-27. 11-point advantage for Washington State. Wallach back to the free throw line with Mendez set to check in if she makes this shot. And she does, and Wallach will hit the bench. Mendez will come in. And Colville will go out instead of Wallach.
Yeah,
so Diana Mendez in.
Wallach with 10 points already kind of early in this game. She's been doing great, a lot better.
Cole hits a 3 for Portland. A little bit of momentum for the Pilots. Lead cut to 9, 30 seconds to play in the first half. Villa in transition. Wild shot, no good, and a rebound for Shearer. A little bit rushed for the Washington State Cougars. And Portland, if they want it, can hold for the final shot of the half and possibly take the final punch of this first half of play in this semifinal, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Holding the ball way outside. Meek at the WCC logo. 4 wide for Portland down low on the block. Shearer out at the top of the key, guarded by Gardner. 3 seconds to shoot. Shearer, free throw line jumper, no good off the rim, and that will end the first half with a miss from the Portland Pilots. What a first half from Washington State. It is 39-30. Cougars in front of the Pilots in this semifinal game. Josiah, what a first half from Washington State.
What a first half. Indeed, a phenomenal first half performance by the Cougars. And I love how it was spread around the board. Right now, besides Jenna Villa being the sole person from the Cougs that has checked in and gotten some minutes, everyone else has scored for the team right now. And so it's just been great that the wealth has been spread around and it's showed. And that's why right now there is a 9-point lead going into halftime. And, great defensive stop on that buzzer where a buzzer beater can really bring a lot of momentum into halftime for the Pilots. But I don't know if you saw, Davis, their heads were kind of drooping down, and it looks like they're kind of defeated, at least in some regard. And of course, there's a whole second half of basketball. But man, to get behind a team that has momentum and maybe a chip on their shoulder like Washington State does, that's not what you want going into this semifinal type of play. And Portland, one of those teams, they are great on paper and on record, but there are tons of great teams around the country. And if they lose in the semifinals, that can maybe be in jeopardy for them getting to the big dance.
Tara Wallach leads the way for Washington State. She's got 9 points, and it's a 9-point lead for the Washington State Cougars over the Portland Pilots, 39-30, as we have hit the half from Orleans Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Davis Hagen along with Josiah Frank, and it'll be Josiah's second half, and this is a great environment to be in for this semifinal game. And will Washington State be able to pull this out and advance to the championship tomorrow to take on Oregon State? We shall find out in a second. 20 minutes of play from Orleans Arena.
We are right back here in the City of Lights of beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, here for this semifinal matchup between the Washington State Cougar basketball team, the women's team, versus the Portland Pilots. I'm Josiah Frank, back with Davis Hagen for the second half duration of this game. And Davis, there's a couple things I wanted to hone in on and chat about before we get started for the second half. The first one, before I ask you a couple questions, we kind of talked about it briefly, but I don't know about you. Portland looks just like a little sluggish tonight. There's something maybe a hair off. Do you notice that as well, or am I just a little crazy?
I think that Portland definitely seems like they're a little shell-shocked with this Washington State performance. They haven't played since March 1st. This is their first performance of the entire WCC tournament, and the way this tournament is set up, those number 1 and 2 seeds don't play until Monday, and they only have to play 2 games to win the championship, but that's also a lot of time off. Washington State played yesterday against Pacific and got their tournament jitters out early, and they played a sensational first half of basketball.
Yeah, and we wanted to mention that first half of sensational basketball. 2 things in particular really got out to me, and that's points in the paint. WSU right now 28-10, outscoring Portland in the paint. And I think that all travels back to a couple players, one being Diana Mendez, but really being the 6'6" sophomore center from Missoula, Montana, Alex Colville. And then also talking about bench points. Colville coming off the bench. She started about the first half of the season before an injury, and Diana Mendez, that true freshman, kind of came and took her spot at that big role. But the bench points right now outscoring Portland 17-4.
Yeah, the bench points have been a big factor for Washington State. The starters have had a good game as well, but it's been a lot of great bench players. Alex Colville definitely leads the way, but Charlotte Abraham has also had a really nice game off the bench. She's got 6 points. Alex Colville has 7 points, and both of those players both have 3 rebounds, and Colville's had a couple of blocks in this game, and she's done a really nice game. She's got 2 blocks, and Portland seems like they're afraid to go inside against Alex Colville. Once her 6'6" wingspan gets in front of them, they seem to not be sure what to do with the basketball, and it's just really impressive to watch because you have Mendez that starts, all freshman team player, and then you can just sub in Alex Colville if Mendez gets tired or isn't having her best game. So you've got a really dynamic, really good interior presence for Washington State.
We are about to get underway. And then, Davis, kind of my last point I really wanted to mention is the biggest lead for Washington State tonight has been 12 points. That was kind of at the very tail end of the second quarter. And for Portland, they haven't had a lead since. I think that is huge for this great Portland team that is 28-3 overall, 17-3 conference. Their only 3 losses were in WCC play. Everything else, they've been nothing short of perfection. Yeah, I mean, we'll see how the second half plays out, but Davis, that's huge.
That is huge, and Hull hit a 3-pointer with 36 seconds left in the half, and that's the only reason the lead isn't 12 going into halftime. So Washington State had a 12-point lead with less than a minute to go in that first half, and they've got a 9-point lead going into the second half. So it's a really exciting time to be a Washington State fan, player, coach, anyone involved. This second half could be monumental.
Burnham to check in and inbound the ball over to Meek. Quick swing over to Mark, and now Shearer's going to end up with it. Back over to Burnham, guarded by Jenna Villain. She's going to go straight to the cup, and it is not what had happened in the first half. She is going to add 2, averaging 17 points a game for her. That's going to cut that WSU lead to 7, and now it looks like the game has changed a little bit. Diana Mendez bringing up the ball for the Cougs. It's a jump ball situation, and Portland has woken up from the dead.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, they have definitely woken up a little bit, and Washington State just has to do a good job staying composed. Portland's probably going to come out and try to go on a quick run. Washington State has to be able to weather the storm.
Yeah, weather the storm indeed. Didn't matter, though. Jump ball's going to stay with the Cougars. This place is a little more fired up. Tahina's going to bounce pass over to Via. Vina guarded by Meek. Thought she got hit. Doesn't matter. There's no whistle. She's going to miss the runner floater. The Pilots are going to advance the ball. It's going to be Shearer going to the cup. She doesn't do it. Gets a rebound, though, from Fraley, and she'll put the punt back in, and all of a sudden now it's a 5-point game just a minute within this third quarter. Pia guarded heavily by Meek. She's hounded by her. He's going to give it back over to Wallach. Now Jenna Villa has the ball, the Arlington native, guarded by Mark. Via to Wallach. Wallach, a beautiful dime over to Jenna Villa. finishes with the left hand, adds 2 more for the Cougs and gets them going. Now it's Mark, other end, kick out Vernon. Vernon right to the cup on Genevieve, and that's an and 1 for her. She has heated up. She's ready to go. She doesn't want to go home. 2 Washingtonians going at it. Liberty High School and Arlington High School. But it looks like Liberty's going to win that situation with an and 1.
Portland's definitely come out with a much better fire under them in this second half. Benavilla finally on the board for Washington State. Before that, she was the only player that hadn't scored, and then she immediately gets subbed out for Charlotte Abraham.
She's got 3. She'll sit on the bench. Burnham will go up to the line for 1. That one will be pure. It is a 41-37 game. WSU still leading. Charlotte Abraham nearly loses the basketball. She will lose the ball. Now Shearer on the other end puts in 2, and tons of purple has erupted here in the arena for the Pilots. Mendez now bringing up the rock. Usually not, and that someone has to quiet this crowd down. It's a 2-point game now. 8:12 left in this third quarter. Tahina to Wallach for 2. She's blocked. Gets batted around. It's going to be Mark that ends up with it for the Pilots. Quick pass to Shearer. Burnham now has it for the 3 ball. Front iron slows down the crowd a little bit. Wallach bats out the rebound. And now it's going to be Shearer on the other end. Another offensive rebound for the Pilots. Wallach trying to fight for the board. No one gets it. And now Villa's going to end up with it. Nearly fouled. She's going to try to go coast to coast. They've got numbers. Villa's going to throw up a layup. No good. Tahina's going to fight for the board. Gets the board. She's wide open. 3 ball. No good. Gets her own board. Now Villa another floater. That's also no good. Tries to get another offensive rebound. There's going to be an offensive foul, though, on the Cougs. It will be Portland ball. A lot of commotion in the last about minute and a half.
They got to use the backboard. You can't shoot those floaters. It's the hardest shot in basketball. A short floater over the top. It's almost impossible to score it unless it's a perfect shot. You got to hit it off the backboard. That's why it's there, and you got to use it.
Meek and the Pilots, they have woken up, and they are not going to roll over like they did in the first half. Meek, mano a mano, Villa. Quick handoff over to Hull. Hull's going to look back to Meek. Hull's going to screen for her. Meek to the cup. A great little dish off to Burnham. Right, reverse hand layup. She'll get fouled by either Wallach or Abraham. And she'll go to the line for 2. Has a chance to tie. And all of a sudden, this crowd has erupted. Burnham is back at the line. She had just 4 in the first half. 6 points in the first half. And now she has 11. A chance to put in 2 more for her. Her first. She will knock down. The Spangle, Washington native trying to tie the game. And that second one, though, is going to be front iron. Abraham's going to end up with a great rebound for her. Tahina now in the Cougs in their all grays. Wallach, top key, guarded by Burnham. Mendez, jab steps. Bounce pass Abraham. Looks over to Villa, thought about a 3. Tried to give it to Mendez, doesn't do it. The ball's going to be stolen away, and now it's Burnham on the other end. Burnham going coast to coast. Thought about a foul, rebound Mark. Mark's right-hand reverse layup is going to take the lead for Portland. It's a 42-41 game, and now all of a sudden WSU is down against a really good Portland team. Tahina now on the other ends, trying to regain the lead. Wallach goes baseline, cross-court pass over to Villa. Villa looking at Mendez, gives it right back to Tahina, top of the key. This place is loud. Tahina uses screen for Mendez. 3 ball back iron, no good. Great offensive rebound by Diana Mendez. And she was maybe fouled. Nope, there's going to be actually a timeout. It'll be a 30-second timeout by the great Cami Etheridge. Great use of a timeout off that great rebound off of Diana Mendez. But now Portland with a 1-point advantage. 6:09 left in this third quarter.
Yeah, it's a good timeout off the rebound, but I feel like they could have used a timeout maybe 3-4 minutes ago after Portland starts immediately coming back into the game. I don't know if the Cougars thought that Portland was just going to roll over and die in the second half. They are definitely not. They've come out with a vengeance, and they've taken the lead back. They're on an 8-0 run, and Washington State just looks like they thought they were going to win the game at halftime. It doesn't even seem like the same team has come out in the locker room from the second half. It's really going to be interesting to see if they can weather this storm, because right now they're not, and Portland is getting anything they want. Everything is going Portland's ways. Washington State just seems like they're back in that first quarter where they were waiting for things to happen. It seems like they've done that again.
It's an 8-0 run for Portland and the Pilots. Right now, WSU 0 of 5 from the field in the second half, a 234 scoring drought. And if the Cougs want to regain that lead and get across this really good Portland team that is accustomed to blowing out squads in arenas, they need to regain this lead and regain it fast. We're going to take a quick little break for the rest of this timeout. You're listening to Cougar Basketball here on KUGR. Right back here in Orleans Arena for this second half between the Washington State Cougars and the Portland Pilots. Right now, the Cougars are shooting 1 from 10 from behind the three-point line, but the Cougars are going to have the basketball right now. Tahina inbounds to Wallach, nearly batted away though. Via right back to Gardner. Via trying to get something going. Via's going to go straight to the cup, and it's going to be rattled in and out, and that's an 0 for 6 drought continuing for the Cougs. Mark on the other end, going coast to coast. She's going to miss it. Quick rebound by Kyra Gardner. Kyra over to Tara Wallach. Wallach behind the back pass. Heaves it over to Kyra. Gardner back to Wallach. Thought about a three. Goes baseline. Bounce pass to Via. Via, Gardner, Mendez now has it. Right hook shot. It's 0 for 7. Another miss for the Cougs. Still 42-41 though. Pilots just leading by 1. It's going to be Mogul on the other end, and she'll miss the right-handed layup. And now both teams missing on both ends of the floor. Alex Koval's at the scorer's table trying to check in, see if someone can start the offense again for the Cougs. It needs to go. Tahina thought about a three. No one really wants to shoot. Via Gardner. Gardner now to Tahina. Short corner, and that's going to rattle out. A great offensive rebound by Mendez, but it's going to be a jump ball, and I believe it's going to be with the Pilots. Colville will check in, as well as Trista Hall, the Yakima native. Tries to compete with her. And that is going to be a timeout from, I believe, the Portland side. It's going to be a full timeout. But, yeah, Davis, right now, we are about at the midpoint of this third quarter. 4:58 left. The Pilots leading by 1, 42-41. Davis, what do you want to see that needs to change and probably change quicker than later? You know, luckily, Portland missing 2 back-to-back shots. That's not going to happen a ton. I mean, it did happen the first half, but, with how momentum is kind of going with their side, that's probably not going to last for long. What do you want to see that will change, hopefully, for the rest of the second half?
To me, it's an easy fix on offense. You got to use the backboard. They keep shooting these floaters, trying to perfectly touch it over the top into the rim. Use the backboard. They're right at the cup, and if they can use the backboard and lay it in easily, they did a great job of that in the first half. I don't know what changed at halftime. Now they're shooting these teardrop floaters over the top, and it's not going for them. They have to be able to put it off the glass. If they do that, they can start scoring some points, but that's one of the big problems is that they haven't been able to score while Portland's getting hot. If they can weather this storm and sort of score while Portland's scoring, it's going to be a much better feeling. But right now it feels very dark for Washington State because nothing is going their way in this start of the second half.
The bank is closed indeed. And yeah, not a lot of money, no change, no quarters, nickels, dimes, or pennies or anything kind of coming off the backboard for the Cougs. Your bank needs to start to open and open quickly. The Cougs right now down just by one, but we're waiting to see in this timeout. We're waiting for that first horn. But yeah, the Cougs right now still at that drought, 0 for 8 right now. And Portland 8-0 run over 3.5 minutes. It was a complete flip in the very end of the first half. And now the tables have turned indeed for the Cougs and Washington State. Davis right now, we were talking about Burnham right now, hailing from Spangle, Washington. She's heated up a ton. She has 12 points right now. She averages 17. She's on pace for that average. Do you think she can heat up even more as we get ready to end this timeout?
Yeah, it seems like she's definitely trending in that direction to have a really good second half, and Washington State's got to be able to stop Burnham from getting those points, but she's definitely a player that can get hot, and that's just how it goes. I mean, those players that are one of the best in the country are going to get theirs, and it's just a matter of time before she was going to get that. So I think for Washington State, just maintaining a level head is going to be important. Even though Portland's going on this run, you've got to realize that there's still so much game in front of you, and I think there's still a lot of great opportunity. They had a 9-point lead at halftime. They're down by 1, but there's about halfway the quarter gone. So still a lot of hope for Washington State.
First buzzer is sound. And now the Pilots and Portland, they are going to make their way to the other end of the court and face the Cougs on defense. It's going to be Lainey Spear, the Portland native. She's going to check into the ball game and inbound the basketball over to Meek. Meek and the Pilots. Quick handoff to Shear. Shear with the basketball back over to Meek. Guarded by Villa. Villa right in front of her face. Alex Govel's checked into the game. She was guarding Hull. Now it's going to be Spear. Back over to Shear. Burnham now guarded by Gardner. 2 Washingtonian athletes going coast to coast. She's going to miss it. Kick back out to Hull. Her corner 3 is going to rattle in at the end of the shot clock. Walk in the Cougs. Gives it to Tahina to cross the division line. She does. Backs turn. Bounce pass Wallach. Into Kova in the post. Right skyhook. And that is short as well. The Cougs just missing shot after shot. Shearer, a quick, easy dump over to Spear. Adds 2, and now what was a lead for the Cougs is now a 6-point deficit. 47-41, Portland leading, 3:55 left. Mark's going to check back into the game for the Pilots, but Alex Colville was fouled on the other end. It's a foul on the ground, and the Cougs have got to get something going in quickly.
Yeah, they haven't scored in 4 minutes and 48 seconds. This is getting rough for Washington State.
Tahina to inbound. Behind the arc to Garner, who ended up with it. Back over to Villa. Bounce pass, free throw line to Wallach. Wallach, can she score? A fadeaway jumper. Still no good. The Cougs still droughtless. Meek and the Pilots on the other end. Meek looks at entry over to Spear. Doesn't do it. Gives it to Mark, but she'll be called for a travel after she tries to drive to the cup. And it's going to be Cougar ball.
Well, now we'll see if Washington State can use that turnover from Portland and bring it into their favor and try to get some momentum going and stop this scoring drought that's over 5 minutes long.
Natalie Fraley from Kelso, Washington. A lot of Washingtonians athletes on the floor right now. But Wallach, the Canadian inbound, over to Tahina from Kosovo. Tahina, Mendez nearly loses the basketball. And there's going to be a block on the ground. Burnham and the Pilots crew head coach Meek is also not happy about that call. Doesn't matter, though. Tahina is going to inbound. 47-41, 3:29 in this third quarter. Cougs really need to get a bucket in to kind of calm the nerves. Tahina on the right inbound, gives it to Colville and just throws the ball away. Intended for Colville, doesn't give it to her. Now it's going to be Mogul on the other end. Quick handoff to Haley. Haley right into Shearer for an easy 2 layup and just a couple back cuts and passes. And now all of a sudden it's an 8-point lead. Wallach and the Cougs. Wallach to Tahina, nearly lost. Via to Colville in the post, double team, kicked out back to Wallach. 16 on the shot clock. Via back over to Colville. And she will get fouled, I believe, on the ground. Yep, it's going to be on the ground. Colville will be fouled. It's right now all of a sudden an 8-point game. And what was a 9-10-point lead for the Cougs, this game is flipped around. Tahina inbounds to Villa. Villa pounding to the earth. Nearly lost. Gives to Mendez. Mendez left short corner. Kicks back out to Villa. Behind the arc. Back to Colville in the post. Trying to make something going. That jump hook also no good. Still scoreless. Nearly the entire third quarter. Mogul gives to Mark. Goes baseline on Colville. She's blocked though by Colville. But she is going to get fouled. It looked like it was just tipped. But it doesn't matter. Mark will go to the line and shoot 2. 15-0 run, 5 minutes in this third quarter, and the Cougs droughtless, and it is getting scary. Even with all this time, still the third quarter happening, and there is still another quarter to be played, but 15-0 drought is insane. Mark's first front iron, thankfully, no good. Gives another little bit of a breather for the Cougs, but down by 8. They need to score. They need to score fast. Someone has to score for them. Her second is also front iron, but there's going to be an offensive rebound. Mark's going to end up with it. Back over to Meek. 3 ball. That one's nothing but nylon. 18-0 run in 6 minutes for the Pilots. The Cougs need something. It's an 11-point lead for Portland. Wallach to Tahina. Gives it into Mendez. Back to Colville. Short corner. Tahina back to Mendez. Somebody's got to score. Mendez. And her little 2-foot jumper is going to rattle out too. Still scoreless. Mark, coast to coast now. On Colville. Misses it. Great rebound by Mendez. Outlets over to Tahina. She's going to advance. Wallach. 4-3, and that's also no good. Gets her own rebound, and finally 2 points for the Cougs. They are so needed, but then on the other end, it's going to be Natalie Fraley as the Cougs kind of celebrating their first points, and Portland just extending their lead. Still an 11-point game, 54-43, 1:26 left. Now Mendez, free throw line, tries to draw. She's going to lose the basketball, and Colville's going to foul Fraley, who stole it. Wow, I mean, this last series, there hasn't been a whistle in a minute since those free throws by Mark. But it's just been go, 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 go. And Wallach, his first 2 points, kind of trying to cut that drought. It was 20-2 run. And over the last 7 minutes of Davis, I don't know what's happened.
About everything that can go wrong went wrong in those 7 minutes, and then they finally get one, and the momentum feels like maybe it could be Washington State's. And then Portland immediately gets a run out. No defense in transition from Washington State, and just continuing to shoot themselves in the foot in the second half.
Whoa, 1 of 14 from the last field goals. Now the Kelso native Fraley is at the line. Gonna shoot 2. Tiffany Barbosa is gonna check into the game for the Pilots. She's going to give Berman, who had a great series for her, she's up to 12. Going to give her a breather. Fraley's first is good. Fraley, the 6-foot junior guard, extends the Portland lead to 12, 55-43, 122 left in this third. Cougs have got to get something going fast where it can get even uglier. And Fraley's second, she will knock down. Villa nearly loses the basketball from an inbound by Wallach. Villa back over to Wallach, fouled by Meek. Doesn't matter, though. It's not in bonus or anything. The foul will be on the ground. 56-43. Portland is up by 13, and this quarter has been horrific for the Cougs. Wallach back to Tahina after the inbound. Gives it to Villa. They need a shot. They need a momentum switcher now. Mendez thought about a free throw. Gives it over to Tahina. Tahina, Wallach, corner three ball. Left iron, no good. And another miss from the Cougs. They are 1 from 15 from the field in the last 8 minutes. Meek and the Pilots. They're going to swing it around the perimeter. Back over to Barbosa. Her three is going to be too long, too strong, and Mendez will end up with it. She will go coast to coast. Kick out Tahina, three ball. It's needed. And that's going to be no good as well. Nothing can get going. Wallach's going to try to fight for the board. She doesn't give it. Spear will end up with it. Back into the hands of Mogul. Now Barbosa, corner three. And just a bullet dodged by the Cougs off of her miss. Tahina, 12 seconds left. Wanting this third quarter to end. It's a nightmare that has been going on. Mendez thought about a three, and really anything has to go in for the Cougs. 1 second left. Villa for the final shot, and that's going to fall down. A three ball that cuts what was a 13-point lead down to 10, but 10 feels like 50 with that horrific third quarter for the Cougs. A 22-5 run in the third quarter alone. Davis, a nightmare might be an understatement.
Absolutely an understatement. It is a 26-7 total quarter, and that 22-5 run is just unheard of from this Washington State team. They had a great regular season, and this is the kind of thing that doesn't happen to a team as good as Washington State. But the Portland Pilots, we knew something was going to happen. They're going to go on a run, but Washington State did not do anything about it in that third quarter to stop the run. Only one timeout called from Kami Etheridge, and there was no effort by anybody on the team to stop the run from Portland. They were just, nothing was going their way, and I don't know what they're going to do in this fourth quarter, but they got to change something.
Yeah, I'm kind of at a loss of words. The Cougs looking great, having one of maybe their best first halves of basketball that I had ever seen throughout the duration of the season. And then in the third quarter, falling apart would also be an understatement. It crumbled, died, and disintegrated the Cougar offense. Well, we're going to take a break, try to gather ourselves to get ready for this fourth quarter, and hope and pray and do everything else for a fourth quarter comeback for the Cougs. You're listening to more Cougar basketball here on KGR. We're right back in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, the city of lights. Here in the Cougs right now, the story is they're down by 10 after a horrific third quarter. Let's see if they can do something different. Jenna Villa's back into the game. Gets it over to Tahina. Now Mendez is in the post. Wallach's going to pull up for a three, and that's going to be front iron, and hopefully not a continuation of that third quarter. Burnham and the Pilots. Leading scorer, one of those first-team WCC players. Now Meek's at the top of the key, guarded by Tahina. Mano-y-mano. Meek, entry to Mark. Mark, kick out over to Shearer. Shearer's going to go baseline, juggle to the cup, and she'll miss that easy layup. And just another thankful miss for Portland. Tahina, quick to Villa. She pump faked a three, and the next basket is going to fall. She's going to drive right for a two, and that adds two and cuts the lead down to 8. Burnham in the other side. Pilots trying to extend that lead. Meek's going to take her time. 9 minutes left in this fourth quarter. It is win or go home in this semifinal of the WCC tournament. Meek, guarded by Villa. Quick kick out over to Spear. Her three's no good. A great rebound by Tahina, and she's going to get fouled by, it looks to be Shearer. And Shearer now has that's her second personal, but you know, the team right now kind of hovering over that like 1 to 2 to 3 foul marker. Villa to inbound over to Wallach. Wallach crossing the logo, kicks out to Tahina, to Jenna Villa. Quick handoff to Villa. Villa trying to have a couple baskets for the Cougs. They need offense. That is what they've been struggling in. Wallach uses a screen by Mendez. She'll pop up for three. It's got to fall, and it's been front iron short every time for Tara Wallach. Burnham and the Pilots on the other end. Burnham's going to go up, and she's going to add 2 for the Pilots. And what was 8 points is now 10-point lead for Portland. Tahina and Villa, they got to cut this lead. Wallach thought about another three. It's just not falling today for her. Almost used a screen from Tahina. Tahina back over to Wallach. Wallach, her 2 is going to rattle in and out. Great offensive rebound by Mendez. Right back over to Villa. Her floater is going to rattle in and out. Another offensive rebound by Mendez, and that's back-to-back in and out baskets that are like 3 or 4 feet from the basket for the Cougs. Mendez thankfully is going to go to the line and hopefully put in needed 2 points for the Cougs. Oh my goodness.
It is a cruel punishment for Washington State to have to watch these shots go up, rattle around a couple of times, and then drop out. And the sky was falling in the third quarter, but with that foul on Burnham, that's her 4th personal foul, so she'll hit the bench, and that's a big deal for Washington State and Portland as their best player on the bench with 4 fouls.
Mendez will hit one, cuts that 10-point lead to 9, and yeah, just a prayer that Burnham had for. She has to sit on the bench. She will be back, though, to finish off this game. Mendez is second. It's needed. That's going to be front iron, but great rebound by Jenna Villa, the Arlington native. A great offensive rebound. Now Villa's going to end up at the top of the key, resets the shot clock. They need another basket here. Villa to Tahina, back into Mendez. Mendez straight to the cup, and she's going to miss another right-handed jump hook. Meek and the Pilots over to Shearer. Shearer tries to draw it to the cup. She's double-teamed and just loses the basketball. Shoots it. It's an air ball. And the Pilots and their fans and the coaching staff thought it was deflected. And it was deflected. That ball was not that bad of an air ball. It was deflected out of bounds, going to stay Pilot ball.
Yeah, I think Charlotte Abraham might have got a hand on it, but it was definitely close. And with the follow-through, kind of looked like Portland might have touched the last 2, but ultimately it's Portland ball.
Meek to inbound to Shearer, top the key. Quick handoff to Mogul. Guarded by Abraham. Mogul directing traffic. Quick handoff Meek. She's at the left elbow. Meek try to look at Mark, but there's going to be a foul on the ground before anything can get going. And now it's going to be a foul on Astera Tahina.
Yeah, she had her hands on the back of Mark, grabbing the jersey, not letting her get free.
Doesn't matter, though. It'll be on the ground. Mogul over to Hole to Mark. She goes baseline. Thought about a shot. She's going to throw up a left-handed hook. That will be an and one opportunity. She's fouled on that as well. Now it's a 60-49 game. The Cougs are down by 11, and it's 7 minutes, and it's getting scary.
Yeah, Kruger's frustrated on the floor. trying to stay together as a unit. They just had a huddle in the lane of the key, but they are definitely getting frustrated with how this half has gone.
Mark's free throw is going to go up and in. Tahina will inbound for the Cougs. Back to Mendez, who's been bringing up the rock for the Cougs. And she kind of puts a little showtime on that basketball. She's going to go straight coast to coast, and she'll get fouled. A great offensive set by Diana Mendez. She just goes from north to south, and she'll go to the line, shoot two. But they need these right now. They're down by 11.
Yeah, it feels like Mendez is not taking the third quarter anymore. She's trying to get back in this game. She's forgetting about that third quarter. She's only got 5 points, but she's been one of the best highlights for Washington State in the second half, giving all she's got on the floor.
Spear to check in. Mendez's first is good, and it's needed. Every point for the Cougs is like an extra life, an extra breath for them. Mendez for her second. That one will also go through, and Mendez, yes, trying to turn it around for the Cougs by herself. It's going to be inbounded. There's a light press from the Cougs. There's 6:54 left. A lot of time, but the Cougs have got to pick it up. Burnham still on the bench for the Pilots. Meek now. Bounce pass to Mark, nearly stolen away by Villa. She's got to watch those fouls. Mark now, top of the key to Shearer. Shearer over to Mogul. The Pilots just swinging it around the arc. It's going to be over to Meek in the post. She's going to miss the shot. 2 on the shot clock. It's going to be a shot clock violation. Nope, it's not. She got it off in time. And Villa had the basketball and just ripped right to her. And now Meek is at the top of the key. And Eleanor Villa thought she either got fouled or it was a shot clock violation, but the ball's stolen from her. And now Meek is fouled on that second chance opportunity for Portland. Shearer to inbound. 6:18 left on the game clock. Meek will end up with it. Wallach's going to check back in. She's got to turn it on if the Cougs want any shot of coming back to this game. Meek to Shearer. Shearer back to Mogul. Back to her. Spear, quick inbound. And it's going to be stolen away, intercepted by the freshman, Charlotte Abraham. Abraham to Tahina. Jenna Villa thought about a three. Get back to Tahina. Now it's going to be Mendez, who's been the lone scorer, and she's going to put in another two. A miracle for the Cougs. She's been kind of the sole scorer for the Cougs. Diana Mendez cuts that lead back down to 8. Mogul guarded by Mendez. It's kind of now or never. 5:30 left for the Cougs. And Portland's going to take a good timeout by head coach Michael Meek. And the Cougs right now, it's an 8-point game. There's 5:35 left right now. And Davis, I like 5:35 a lot better than I do 2 or 3 minutes down by 8. But what did the Cougs need to do right now? It cannot just be the Diana Mendez show. I mean, it's been great. It's been working. But eventually, Portland's, they're probably talking about that right now. Slow her down because nobody else kind of wants to shoot or has been making any baskets.
Washington State has to realize that there's still 5.5 minutes left. Somebody else has to step up other than Diana Mendez. But if it's just going to be Mendez, so be it. But she's going to try to do it all herself. But somebody else has to step up. Washington State, even though they're just down 8, it feels like 20 at this point because everything's going right for Portland. But they have to remember that each play is unique. There's just because the third quarter was really bad and the fourth quarter hasn't been that much better, there's still 5.5 minutes. It's a totally new game. You're just starting in an 8-point hole, and everything has to be going forward for Washington State. They have to stay composed and stay together. They can't start getting frustrated with each other and yelling at each other. They're doing a good job of that, trying to stay connected as a team. But it does look like they're very frustrated on the floor, which I would not blame them for being frustrated. It's been a frustrating second half.
Frustrating has been an understatement. It has been awful, frustrating, and all the above. We're going to take a break for just a little bit for the rest of this timeout. You're listening to more women's Cougar basketball here on KUGR. Right back at you with more Cougar basketball, and the tale of the story is the Cougs are down by 8, 5:35 left, and Portland's going to inbound the basketball. Mark's going to end up with it, guarded by Abraham. She's going to give it over to Shearer, guarded by Tahina. Tahina, quick, easy dime. Over to Lainey Spear, the 6'2 forward. She's going to add 2 and extend the Pilot lead to 10. Villa's got to go, and she's got to go now. Villa looking at Mendez. Gives it to her, and just a quick handoff between the two. Wallach's back into the game. Someone has got to take this game over. And we'll see if it's Mendez. She'll put in another 2, and that's going to be a brick. And it's going to be a quick rebound by Burnham. Burnham check back into the game. She's got 4 fouls. See if maybe she can kind of foul out for the Cougs. It would be really needed if she could take a breather for the rest of the game.
Her and Hull both have 4 fouls for Portland. And that's a big deal if one of those can go out.
Shearer to Burnham. She's going to pull up for 2. It's going to be no good. A great rebound by Diana Mendez. She's just going to bring up the rock. Quick advance to Tahina. There's 4:32 on the shot clock. They need a point here. Diana Mendez straight to the cup. No good. A rebound by Wallach. Wallach kicks out to Tahina. Back over to Mendez, and she's going to put in 2.
Great
It's going to cut that lead to 8.
Fantastic pass from Tahina. Quickly and in rhythm to Mendez.
Another breather for the Cougs. Burnham, she's got 4. And like Davis mentioned, Hull also has 4. Burnham, though, she's going to pull it for a 3 ball. And that's going to take a little bit of life out of the Cougs. That will go in. Unfortunately, now it's an 11-point game. Going to be a 30-second timeout. They're going to stay on the floor. And, you know, the Cougs trying to get something going. And right when they do, Burnham and the Pilots adding another 3 to the scoreboard. And Davis, it's really now or never. We're nearing 4 minutes, down by now 11 points, and pretty much you need a score on almost every possession if you want to keep the game semi within reach. And there's already fans starting to trickle out. 11 points is a big task. Luckily, the Cougs do have the ball. It's kind of a much-needed score here if they want to come back.
Burnham up to 17 points for Portland, right at her average on the season. And since the start of the second half, it feels like everything Washington State does, Portland is either matching it exactly or doing much better than them. And even when Washington State finally gets something to go, Portland just answers right back.
Well, it's an inbound to Villa, right over to Wallach. They need something, and they need it quick. We're at 4 minutes and this last quarter. Mendez, Villa. It's an 11-point game. Mendez at the free throw line, back over to Wallach. Wallach thinking about scoring. She thought she got fouled over on the right-handed jumper, and it's no good. It's going to be Burnham on the other side. Holding your breath if you're a Coug fan. Burnham throws it back over to Meek, top of the key. She's guarded and hounded by Tahina. Meek trying to direct traffic against her. Gives it to Burnham. 10 on the shot clock. Thought about a 3 guarded by Mendez. Now Shearer has it. There's 7 on the shot clock. They got to get something going. Portland wants to add to the lead, and Shearer's going to take it right out of Abraham's hand. Misses the shot, gets her own rebound, puts in 2, and now it's scary. 3:15 at the game, and the Cougs are down by 13. They need a basket here right now. Tahina uses screen by Mendez. Doesn't give it to her. V is going to put up a prayer for a 3. It's going to be no good. And it's going to stay. It's bounced out of bounds off the miss. It will be Portland ball. And now, Davis, I don't know. There's 3 minutes left. It is getting extremely scary for the Cougs.
Yeah, especially when they're just 2 of 17 from the three-point line. That's what's going to get you back in the game, and they just haven't really made any of them so far today.
Mark is just going to go coast to coast right through the lane on Mendez. Fadeaway's no good. It's going to be a rebound by Shearer and Meek, and now it's 2:45 left, and the Pilots are just taking their time. Gardner's at the scorer's table. Meek has it, 10 on the shot clock. Cougs would have to score on this next possession just to keep it alive. It's a 13-point game with 2:30 left. Mark, long 2. That's going to be no good. Abraham nearly grabs the rebound, doesn't get it. She's finally going to get it, give it over to Villa. They've got to move. Villa carving right to the lane. She's going to throw up a prayer, and that falls in. Cuts it to 11. Now it's a 2:15 game. But Burnham in the other end, somebody's got to either take a charge or steal the basketball or something. Meek will end up with it. Back over to Shearer. 2 minutes left in this game. Sharon Meek, top of the key. Mano-a-mano with Tahina. Tahina trying to make a play at the ball. Doesn't do it. Mark now guarded by Mendez. Gives it over to Shear in the post. 5 on the shot clock, guarded by Wallach. And that's going to fall. That adds 2. And now it might be over for the Cougs. Villa trying to make something happen. She pulls up for another 2. And that's no good. A rebound by Burnham. And that sadly might do it. There's a minute and a half left. Meek will end up with it. The fans are starting to stand up. And it's kind of setting in for the Cougs that this might be the end of their WCC hopes. Mano-a-mano via Meek. Quick handoff, Mark. Mark, over to Shear. There's going to be a foul before Burnham will get up a shot. She will go. Tahina getting called for that foul on the ground. Garner, Alina, Kapitaku, and Chu to check in for the Cougs. And it's kind of garbage minutes now. The Cougs down by 13. It's a 70-57 ball game. It gets a really good Portland team. Tahina to check out. Mendez to check out. Villa to check out. And Abraham to check out. Tahina and some of the Cougs showing some tears, which rightfully so. Such a very sad way to maybe end what could be the season, or at least the big dance hopes for this really good Cougar team. Burnham and the Pilots. We're within a minute of the end of this game. Burnham, she adds 2 more. She's got 19. It really doesn't matter right now for the Cougs, unfortunately. Alcina, quick handoff to Tara Wallach, that lone senior. See what she can add. She's going to pull up for a 3, and it's just no good. Left iron, and that might do it. There is 36 seconds left, 10 seconds between the game clock and the shot clock. And the subs are going to come in for Portland, 4 of them. Wallach will check out. Dart's going to check in. Alice Dart hasn't seen a ton of minutes. It's going to be Barbosa to check in to the game. It's going to be Stralin who gets it, swings it back over to Eddie, and she might hold it out until the end of the shot clock. 20 seconds left in the game, 10 on the shot. Sadly, the Cougars' season is coming maybe to a close. She's just going to let it buzz out. 10.3 on the game clock. But it is a 15-point lead for the Pilots. And that is about your game. Alcina to inbound, over to 2. Last 10 seconds. They're just going to dribble it across the division line. And that will unfortunately be your game here tonight in Orleans Arena for the second of 4 games, the second of the semifinal matchup for the women's bracket. Portland's going to win this one 72 to the Cougars 57, and that will be your game for tonight. Oregon State winning on a buzzer beater will play the Portland Pilots in the women's championship. And Davis, kind of sad, but initial first thoughts after a Cougar loss.
Yeah, good season for Washington State. Ends in a poor way for the Cougars. They unfortunately just got the doors blown off them in that third quarter, and it was too much for them to make up. It was a 26-7 run for the Portland Pilots in that third quarter. And the Pilots came out just a totally different team than they were in that first half. It was one of the best first halves of basketball that Washington State played all season long. But that second half, that third quarter was probably their worst performance of the entire season. And that's all it takes is one bad quarter to kind of end your season. And it's going to leave a sour taste in the mouth of all the Washington State players, fans, coaches, anyone involved down in Pullman. And it's tough to see the season end that way for Washington State after having so much excitement at halftime, up 39-30 against one of the best teams in the WCC and in really the entire country, and then to lose 72-57 just does not feel right for Washington State. With the way that game went in the first half, it felt like Washington State might have had a chance to take on Oregon State, and it was going to be a Pac-2 championship in the WCC, but instead it's an all-Oregon championship from the West Coast Conference, and just unfortunate for Washington State that it comes to an end, but a very, very good Portland team, and give props to that team. They played a really good basketball game in the second half, and they're a tough squad. I mean, they got a lot of really good players, but ultimately Washington State just, that third quarter just bit them.
It bit them indeed, and unfortunately, a very sad way to end the Cougars, at least WCC tournament win hopes. And yeah, Davis, you're looking at maybe the NIT, but, probably the big dance, with maybe the exception of a miracle, is probably out of control. WSU not really being on anyone's radar for kind of the first 4 in or the last 4 out. So, it's probably looking at NIT or the other tournaments like the BIT to see if they can extend their tournament hopes and end-of-season hopes. But that's going to do it, sadly, here in Las Vegas, Nevada, the City of Lights here in Orleans Arena. A sad one, but the Cougs, always fighting. We're always going to be Coug fans. But a sad loss and maybe an end to the Cougars women's team season. It's a 72-57 loss. The Cougs losing to Portland. I'm Josiah Frank. I'm with Davis Hagen, and that is the end. And we will be back later tonight to call some men's games for the semifinal matchups for the WCC men's bracket. But that is all for the women's side of things. You are listening to Cougar Basketball here on KUGR.